Today we will talk about the Bayesian networks. So, what are Bayesian networks? We know that there are three basic structures that are called S structure, V structure, and L structure. Uh, every structure is composed of three components, and now we will see it more in details. Like when you have a S structure or serial structure, there is A that influences A, that influences B, that influences C. With A, we have a sunny season, and B is a beautiful harvest, and C is the price of the wheat. So we can calculate the probability of B knowing A and of C knowing B. And that is a serial structure because against A influences B and B influences C. It looks quite simple, but it can be more complicated. Let's look at this next example. Okay, this is always A influencing B influencing C, but we have a concept of D-separation, of D-connection. Why it is important? Because when we have a connection, then or three nodes are in white, while we have a separation, we will put another color for the node. But why this is important? Because once we know B, it is enough to explain us C, and we don't need A. What does it mean? If we go back to previous slide, that once we know that the harvest was beautiful, we know that the price will be more elevated. So we don't actually need the information about the sunny season. That's the concept. So it is we say that the nodes A and C are D-separated. There is a D-separation between two nodes because if we want to calculate the probability, we don't need information from node A. We just need the information from node B. So B is separating A and C. The net structure is an L structure. Why it is called L structure? From in Cyrillic alphabet, it looks like an L. That is my association. Maybe you can find some other one. And we see here that again we have A, B, and C. B means my grass is wet, and C means the grass of my neighbor is wet. And A means is a probability. It's an event that is it has rained last night. So if it has rained last night, then I can calculate the probability of B and C. And A is called a confounding factor. Why, again, this is important? So, contrary to here, we have a serial connection. Here we can see that we have a divergent connection. So there is an arrow that's going from A to B and an arrow that's going from A to C. It's called an L structure or a divergent connection. So we have the notion or the concept of D-separation even here. Well, if you look at these two pictures, you can see that here, okay, I have drawn another arrow that goes from here to here. Maybe it can be the opposite. So we believe that there may be some correlation between B and C. For example, here, if I see that my grass is wet and I see that the grass of my neighbor is wet, I may think, even without knowing any further, that maybe it has rained. So there is a correlation between the two. So very often, if my grass is wet, I would believe that the grass of my neighbor is wet as well. But the fact that my grass is wet does not affect the fact that my neighbor grass is wet, nor the opposite. What is the confounding factor? That is what is A is called confounding. The rain is confounding factor. So the rain is the root cause of two consequences. So even it seems to be to exist, that the correlation between the fact B and C exists, but the real confounding factor is A. So it is the rain, and so I can delete this arrow, and we have a perfect L structure with A D-separating B and C. So when I know that it has rained last night, I don't need to at my grass or to look at my grass of my neighbors to know that the other grass is wet. The enough information, this is just enough as an information that it has rained last night. That is, this is called d-separation in the case of L structure. Now, we have the V structure, and this is the last one. So we have B and C influencing the A, the event that happens in B, and C is an event that is happening in the A node. So we have, as an example, we have B as an earthquake, we have A as an alarm, and excuse me, there is a mistake, and C as a robbery. So both even, be it the earthquake or the robbery, can have a triggering effect on my alarm. So, and this is also called an explaining away effect. Because if I know that there is an earthquake, of course the alarm is being triggered, so I am sure that there wasn't a robbery, because this is called the explaining away effect. So it can be B or C that are triggering the A event. B event or C triggering the A event. This is not the only way to see the V structure. It is more global. For example, I took this example for Wikipedia. I didn't really like this example, but never mind. I'll show you there. There are two. You can see that E and C are two independent events, and then become dependent in the presence of the third event. So B, A, and C are independent. When in the presence of third event, become dependent. So let's say that A are the skills of the pilot, and C is the complexity of the airplane. And in the case of the crash of the airplane, the two became somehow connected, because the two contributed of this said event. And we can see here how to calculate the probability. It is even more global than that. Maybe this example that was took from Wikipedia is not clear enough, but just think about the V structure as something really global. For example, you have customers and you have products. They are independent. You know, you're a customer. There are some products that exist somewhere, but you will meet. They will be a meeting and of the customers and the product inside the market. So of the market, and you can buy. So, independently of the market, you can say that the customers and product are independent. They only meet when they go to the market and there is a market transaction. Or another even more global example. So you see that some boys and girls, they don't know each other, but they will meet at the disco, at the restaurant, at travel, wherever. So there is a meeting place for them to meet. Again, these are two events that will become dependent in the presence of third event. And so this is the very global way to think about the V structure. Of course, there is also there are possibilities to think about the two other S structures and L structures in more global way than it was shown previously. So let's say here the S structure. Remember, the A influences B, influences C. Some global event influences the occurrence of some more specific event, which on its turn influences another more specific event. So if there's a cold winter, I will add with lot of viruses, with a lot of viruses. I can catch a fever, and then I take aspirins. The fact that the probability I'm taking aspirins, in fact, that is why I have colored differently this node. Once I know that I have a fever, so the cold winter with lot of viruses does not influence the C event, but once I know that I have a fever. Okay, so this is called separation again. But once again, what was the point of this presentation is to show that an S structure is often some kind of hierarchies. So there is a more global event influencing more specific event and influencing another more specific event. There is also another possibility to think about the L structure. I am in the middle. This is me. So I have my clothes. These are the A node, and I have my books, and this is a C node. So let's imagine that I am a Star Wars fan. So if you enter to my chamber, you can see that I have a lot of books about Star Wars saga, and then you will see that I have also the costumes of Darth Vader or even Luke Skywalker and so on. But you can see that is what is happening here. If you remember, there is a connection between B and C, because there may be the connection between the books I am reading at the moment and my clothes. But once again, if I am in the middle, then it better explains why in my room there are a lot of Star Wars books and a lot of Star Wars clothes. So the two became independent in my presence. And to finish this slide, remember, we have three structures. In the case of S structures, if B is known, A and C are independent. In the case of L structure, if B is known, then A, S, and C are independent. And finally, in the case of the V structure, if B is known, then A and C are dependent. Remember this well, because this is very important. Thanks for watching.